Happy hump day, everyone. Week 15 of the NFL already. Joined by Ben Cary of Capwize. What's going on?
Not a whole lot, just taking a look at week 15, like you said. It's crazy that we're this far, but it's been a wild season for me as a Broncos fan. A lot of ups and downs.
A lot of ups and downs. You guys just played the Chargers too. Before we get into that game, because I'm actually very interested in this Thursday night football game. Can you believe that we live in a time where Tommy DeVito and Zach Wilson are the NFC and AFC players of the week?
I mean, imagine a prop bet, looking at, we would be seeing 2,000-1, something absolutely insane. This is unprecedented. And we were talking about DeVito, right?
Yeah.
Have you changed your mind about what you were saying to me earlier about the whole, this hype stuff and this? Where are you at right now?
I think it's still a very good. Okay, here's the thing. I will buy in more than I have. I don't know that I'm bought into the idea of, I think it's awesome that the Giants have something to root for right now. I think it's a great story. I think that his agent and him are also very smart. I think they're eating it up a little bit here. Let's make the most out of this moment. I don't blame them. Get as many endorsement deals as you can. Yeah. He's basically guaranteed that he's going to be a backup for several years in this league. So eat it up while you can. If he goes into the link on Christmas and beats the Eagles, we can have a different conversation. But right now, you look at the teams that they've played, and I mean, how excited does everyone expect me to get?
I know that's kind of the thing, right? It's well, yeah, we can celebrate the wins, of course, but what does this really mean long term? Right. Question about going to the link: does the agent and the family, they're all going to go, right?
They've got to. I will say though, the Italians can hold their own. So
I wouldn't mess with his mom. Hell no.
No, and even listen, the NFL is eating it up. Did you see how many times do we see DeVito's family? Dad is kissing the agent is kissing dad. I mean, everyone loves a good story, especially when it's a game that, not as exciting. The Giants haven't been something that people get excited to watch. So now everyone is bought in because you have this nice little storyline about it. And I'm excited for him. I mean, it's awesome. It doesn't happen very often that an undrafted guy is able to get even this opportunity. So being in this position, it's great. And like I said, I even said on your show, I mean, having now a cheap backup option that's found success and has, been in the system for a little bit, you're in a good spot. So if he ends up being the backup for quite a bit, that if whoever you decide is QB1 goes down, you can win a couple games.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's basically his resume in real time. He's proven that he can do that. The funny thing about the whole agent thing is I was watching the Manning cast and they were being so funny. And then did you see what Kirk Cousins said about the agent and his agent?
No.
He's like, maybe my agent needs to dress like that. And he's like, my agent typically is wearing a quarter zip and with some khakis, I think. And he calls
his agent should be wearing he should be on the Kohl's brand. I think all agents should abide by, but it's such a good branding. What they're doing is so beautiful. Yeah, it's awesome.
It's really good because we think of the agent of what's his name? Drew Rosenhaus, whatever. And that persona, lawyer background and this and that buttoned up. But then this guy's just the whole, I'm the Italian kind of mafia dude who's Joe Cool. So I like it. I do
like it too. And I also said this on your show before we jump into Thursday Night Football. I think, again, people need to give credit where credit is due. And this New York Giants defense is tough. They're playing very tough. They're very young. I'm excited to see what they do with one more draft, a free agency under their belt. Deonte Banks is turning out to be a phenomenal pick. I think he fell to us even a little bit there in that draft. So I'm excited to see what they do. I'm going to give credit to the Giants defense. DeVito's playing great, but when adrenaline is high, teams don't have a lot of tape on you. And I sound like a hater, and it's okay.
But you're right. But that's totally right. The expert, and we'll talk more about the whole idea with having a tape on a guy when we get into some of these quarterbacks coming up. But I want to ask you this: did the Giants not allow a sack on Monday, or did they have maybe?
They did not, which is funny because I went onto your show and I said that Tommy DeVito was taking a sack 1 in every 4 dropbacks,
which was correct. But what changed? Do you think it was a point of emphasis, or did the offensive line kind of nut up a little bit?
I think it's more on if we're going to be honest, I think it's more on the Packers side than anything.
Just couldn't get to the.
Yeah. A little bit pathetic there. I saw people cherry picking a little bit those O-line stats. I think that's one game. If you look at what he did in his starts, I won't be a hater. We'll talk about the Thursday night football game.
You're tempering expectations. You're a smart fan. That's
Listen, I've always been very reasonable. So I'm trying to be reasonable in this situation. I like the story. I like the kid. I'm Italian. My mom's loving it. You saw me post on Twitter screenshots. My mom's like, it's great to be Italian. Yeah, it's great to be Italian.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So Thursday night football, we have another new starter, Herbert, season-ending surgery here. We have two teams, same records. The Chargers are going to Vegas. Vegas 3-point home favorites. They're minus 155 on the money line. Total is sitting at 34. Easton Stick will be the guy. I have a tendency, I do like when backup quarterbacks get that first initial start. I like them to cover because for that reason, we talked about it a little bit. There's not a lot of tape on these guys. Again, a lot of adrenaline going on. There's factors that go into it. They're more willing to take shots down the field. What's your initial read on this game?
Yeah, so to go a little bit deeper into the whole idea of like the tape, right? Like,
yeah,
you're totally correct on that. And like basically what happens is the head coaches, the defensive coordinators, they're looking at game film of these quarterbacks and they're trying to find tendencies, right? They're trying to see, okay, when the Chargers are in like a tight end formation and they have Eckler on the field and, what are they going to run? Are they doing this or that? Mm-hmm. And when you only have like a game and basically a half of a game that you can really go off of, it's really hard to try to find those tendencies. So what you typically see is like the first half, the defense is kind of playing more reactive, right? They're just kind of sitting back. And I think he's going to have some success, not only in the first half, but the second half too. And he looked good against Denver. I know he had that, maybe it was an interception and then he had like a strip sack, but Denver's D brought it. Like it didn't matter who was back there. I think Herbert was struggling too. So if people want to look at, the Broncos game as any indicator, and his numbers were still all right, but I think he's going to come in and do just fine. I really do.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think, when it comes to the spread, which way are you leaning here? Because it is convincing. I mean, I will say the Raiders, they're like 3-1-1 in their last 5 against the spread. I don't know if I'm totally bought into the whole Raiders ordeal. I think that when Pierce took over, we've seen more success, which I can imagine was expected, getting rid of McDaniel. It's not saying a lot, but do you lean one way or the other?
I'm probably going to lean with the Chargers on this one. I did want to bring up an interesting point. I don't know how legit this is, but there have been like rumors that Jimmy G could get back like on the field. But I did read that if he were to get hurt from here on out to the end of the season, the Raiders would be on the hook to pay him, I think, $9 million. So I don't see why the Raiders would put him out there because the season's done. You have a young quarterback. You want to get him as many reps as possible with O'Connell, and for Jimmy G to go out there and then I don't know tear an ACL, then you owe them $9 million or owe him $9 million. It doesn't make any sense. So I'm pretty confident O'Connell will be playing in this Thursday night game.
I'm with you on that. And also Jimmy G is very much a McDaniel guy. Like I think there's a reason why we saw that switch. I think there's a reason why we're seeing Aiden O'Connell, and also he should find success. The Chargers are 27th in defensive DVOA. They're struggling in so many areas. I think the Chargers there's so much incompetence across the board. A lot of that comes back to coaching. I don't know how many years we're going to keep doing this. The Chargers, their front office, they're just cheap. Like they don't want to have to pay Staley if they don't need to. So, but unfortunately they extended him there. So they're kind of stuck a little bit.
Keenan Moore coming.
Pay him. Just pay him.
Keenan Moore coming in. Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
I was just expecting a little more. The offense at times, it almost feels like when they run the ball, it's just to like check it off the box. Like, oh, we need to run because we passed a few times, and then they get like 2 yards.
Yeah.
With Eckler, and the offense hasn't been to the point where I wanted to see it with Herbert. So, yeah, they have a lot of questions to answer in the offseason for sure.
They absolutely do. All right. What about this total here? 34, one of the lower, might be the lowest right now. One of the lower totals for
that's pretty low. I think that's, again, playing off of Easton stick a little bit. So I guess I would lean over, but definitely not going to touch that. I would rather play the Chargers getting some points than that over under personally.
Yeah. And I really could see, like, I know Vegas just got shut out, but again, I think that's a testament to the Vikings defense.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more than people realize. Another defense that people are not catching on to, like Flores is having a lot of success there. They have an undrafted rookie in Ivan Pace that is just absolutely tearing it up. So I think that there's something to that. And this is kind of, two teams that have had some incompetence coming together, playing against each other. That's why I'm not touching the total, because I could see this end up going over. I'm probably looking towards the player prop market a little bit more. What's a player prop that you've looked at right now?
Yes. So I took a look about 2 hours ago and was kind of seeing what was out there. And, one that kind of caught my attention. This is kind of sneaky, but I really do like the value. And it looks like, okay, perfect. We could still get some value here. It's Isaiah Spiller, and it's for him to score a touchdown, which is kind of, it's a deeper prop that I don't think a lot of people would first look at. And Isaiah Spiller, last game, I believe, had 6 carries, and that doesn't seem like a lot, but Staley had that whole thing before the Broncos game where he's like, hey, this running back room, like, we're going to give carries to guys. Joshua Kelly had more snaps than Spiller, but when Spiller was out there, he had more carries. Yeah. And I just think that if it gets into the red zone, it's going to be a situation where I think Spiller or Kelly could get some touches. And I think at 14-1 for Spiller to score a touchdown, I think that's really good value. At some spots, it's down to 6-1.
Wow.
FanDuel, PointsBet 14-1, and then even Caesars at 10-1. I like that value because I think by tomorrow, 24 hours, that number is going to move. Obviously, don't put a full unit on it unless you're crazy.
Right.
Yeah, just sprinkle, and you put like 0.2 on that. That's a good return. So that's one that I like. And then the other is Easton stick over passing yards.
Yeah,
I think that it makes sense. The Raiders defense, it's okay, but again, going back to the fact they don't have a lot of film on them. Max Crosby, though, is going to be coming from the edge and trying to kill the guy.
I hate playing against him. Like, there is nothing worse than your team playing against Crosby. Like, he is – it's scary to have to watch your team go against him.
Yeah, his effort out there really reminds me of J.J. Watt. Like, every play, it doesn't matter if it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 20. It doesn't matter the score. Like, you watch him on film, watch him every play, and he is firing off the line. He has a great story. I love watching guys like that play because there's guys in the NFL who don't do that, and I don't appreciate it when I watch a guy like Crosby do it every play.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. But I'm with you on Easton stick. I feel like those passing yards are a little bit too low. At what point did Stick come in last week?
He came in the end of the second quarter, and then Herbert went to the locker room.
Yeah.
And as far as like who he was targeting, it was not too much different from what Herbert was doing. Like, they were trying to get the ball to Keenan Allen. Quentin Johnston had a few catches. He had a long, I think, like 35-yard catch. And then Gerald Everett was getting a lot of looks too. So, I mean, it's pretty much what you'd expect out of the Chargers offense. I think Gerald Everett is another guy receiving yards that I was looking at too.
Yeah, I don't know. Did they even get they were kind of being stingy, the market, on who they were putting up, because I kept trying to find some of these guys. I wonder if they have Everett up.
Yeah, Everett's up. Quentin Johnston isn't, which
he's not. And because I would have liked his longest reception, I think, to take a peek at.
Yeah. I don't understand like why they would put Everett out but not
It's weird. Yeah. And Everett's line is pretty low, 27.5 minus 110 I'm seeing. But even with Stick, so he came in second quarter, he had 179 yards. I feel like 190, we're not really asking for a lot here.
No, we don't need a lot. I guess the only way that this doesn't hit is if Crosby just can get to him and apply pressure. But I just think that if this is a close game within the spread, there's going to be enough opportunities passing wise at a Stick. And, I feel comfortable that Moore can still come up with a good game plan.
Yeah.
He understands like Stick is a younger quarterback. Like, let's develop a game plan. And yeah, I feel okay with him getting to, I think it's 191 is the number that I saw.
Awesome. So I'm looking at the few that I've looked at. So Michael Mayer, over 19.5 receiving yards. Here's the thing with the Chargers. If you want to like highlight one of their weaknesses, which they have quite a few, one of it is just like you can attack the Chargers by the middle of the field. Their linebackers are just not good. If we're going to be completely honest, it's definitely a piece of their roster they're going to have to address. So that's a pretty low line there for Mayer, someone that can get that 1-2 catches. I'm also kind of interested in his longest reception. That's at 11.5, minus 110 as well. He's gone over that last 3 games. Last week, he only had 1 reception, and it flew over that 17 yards. And then I wouldn't be angry if you looked at the receptions over 2.5 plus 106. 2 of the last 4 games, only 3 in the last 2. But I think there's an opportunity against this Chargers defense for Mayer to have a little bit bigger of a game than he's had.
Yeah, Mayer's a guy that I think should be getting more touches.
He's on the field constantly too.
Yeah. Like when he's out there and making catches, like for example, that Patriots game, middle of October, he looked really good. I mean, he had a long catch too, and maybe he's still trying to learn the offense, and he's been a good blocker too. So maybe they're not just exhausting him, but at the same time, like let's get him like 4 to 5 targets a game.
Yeah, I'm with you. And then the other 2 I was looking at, because Stick was one of mine as well, so I like that we both like that one, this is the first one I punched. I don't know if this line moved. It may have, but Adams' longest reception over 21.5, minus 114. O'Connell's finally getting the ball out to him a little bit more as of late. I think some of that is Pierce getting involved. He's going to get opportunities to take shots versus Chargers secondary here. So
he's got number?
It's 21.5.
Okay. For longest reception.
Yeah. And he's gone over 4 straight. It really, I'm seeing them include him a little bit more, giving him opportunities to make those big plays, which you weren't getting as much of in the beginning of the season. It was a very frustrating start to the year, even longer than just start to the year for Adams.
Yeah. When Jimmy G was just overthrowing him consistently in the same game, just wide open.
Yeah, Jimmy G, God. Thank God McDaniels was over there because he got a little bit lucky there. And the only other one I was looking at is they are including Hunter Renfrow more in the game plan. So talk about a guy who got a very slow start with McDaniel there. That is over 23.5 receiving yards, minus 114. Opened at some books, it was 26.5. I'm not sure if it's moved everywhere else. Gone over this 4 of last 5. Someone like Renfrow doesn't need many catches to go over this either. I'm glad that they're including him more. He's only gone over this 4 times this season, and it was 4 of the last 5. So Renfro's another guy I'm looking at.
That makes a lot of sense because, like you mentioned, earlier in the season just wasn't really part of the offense, but as of late is. And I think one that, if there's some sickos out there who want to play unders, Jacoby Myers under might be a good look. It just seems like you mentioned, Pierce working with O'Connell, they want to get Adams just the ball as much as possible. And Jacoby Myers, it seems like, was more a beneficiary of Jimmy G. So that could be a look too. What are we showing for yards? It looks like it's 43.5, 42.5. So I don't think that's the worst look too.
What's his receptions at? Do you have it there?
His 4.5. Seems a little high.
God, I feel like they said it there. They're kind of smart to do that
because minus 150.
Yeah. All right. Under. And then I'm waiting on because I know Jacobs is maybe a little banged up. I'd like to see what the Zamir White and Abdullah lines look like. They're not quite out. So that's something I'll keep an eye on. I know even both defenses to score, not parlaying them, but it's worth a look just because when you have the volatility with these type of quarterbacks, there's something there to be able to like, maybe get some value on.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think both quarterbacks are still going to pass the ball. So there's going to be opportunities for some turnovers, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's do a couple of these listener questions. I usually do them on
I'm excited for these.
But I would like to do them with you this week. If we could put the first one up, Wales Bet, great follow on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, I follow him.
Yeah, he's awesome. Very nice guy.
Her. I don't know.
It is a guy. It is a guy.
Oh, it is a guy. You've confirmed.
Yeah, I've confirmed. Your top 5 against the spread bets this week. What are you looking at?
Yeah, so I still am diving into everything a little bit, but I think just from like a high level, I think there's some interesting spots with like fading the whole like bounce back narratives, because I think a lot of people, for example, are going to be on the Chiefs, right?
Yeah.
Where they're like Chiefs and Mahomes is going to be mad, but their wide receivers are just so bad. Like I just don't see them blowing open this game. And I know it's weird, like imagine like 3 weeks ago we would be I would be talking about, or anyone would be talking about taking the Pats against the Chiefs at this number, but I think it's fair. And I think 9.5 isn't a bad look. Again, I think most people are going to side to the Chiefs. That's one. Do you have any that you like?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, a little bit against your Broncos. I think I said this on your show, or at least I said it on mine on Monday. This will be the last week I take the Lions against the spread, because I think going back home, Goff goes under a dome. He's got dome games the rest of the way. The Lions need a little bit, I don't think they're getting a statement game against the Broncos, but they got to pull it together. So I'm kind of eyeing out that -4. I liked the Thursday night game when it was still a +4 for the Chargers. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that Pitt Indy game?
Yeah, I'm literally looking at it right now. The Colts look so enticing to me, but
they do. I think that there's, if Trubisky is playing, I don't know how I can bet on the Steelers.
Yeah, I don't think I can either. I mean, Minshew, you can trust the guy. The Colts offense is actually clicking right now. And I don't know if Jonathan Taylor is going to be healthy for that one, but either way, I mean, Michael Pittman has looked good out there. Alex Pierce. Downs has been a little quiet, but he's a guy you still have to like have your pulse on as a defender, because he can stretch the field. So I think right now the offense is just looking really good. So I would have to side with the Colts.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Colts is another one that I like quite a bit. There's one spread that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And it feels kind of, I don't want to say lock, because I hate when people say that, especially all over X. People love to say this is the lock. Like nothing's really a lock. It's gambling. But Baltimore -3 against Jacksonville. What are we?
I know.
What is that line?
I guess the thinking is the Jags are going to be quote unquote like desperate or hungry, but I mean, the Ravens have looked really good. And
I don't want a desperate Jacksonville team though. Like I'm gonna be so for real. I don't want a desperate.
I would rather take the Ravens. I'm probably not going to bet that, but I would take the Ravens just because I don't want to just go into the desperate narrative and the game starts and Ravens just continue to move the ball and look good. So. Yeah,
I lean to looking at the Saturday games. Another one, because I do like the Colts. I actually like Minnesota +3 against Cincinnati as well. Again, this is a defensive play. I'm going to ride with Flores. I'm going to ride with a new quarterback who is very willing to throw the ball downfield more than you are getting from Dobbs. So I think you can shake it up there. JJ's playing. Mullins has a very good history with getting the ball to tight ends. Bengals' defensive weakness is the tight end. So I actually like the Vikings to keep it close here with that.
I actually like that a lot. That makes a lot of sense. The defense is going to travel on the road. And I think over the last 6 weeks, basically I saw this on X, and it was since that Broncos debacle against the Dolphins. Since then, the Broncos have been a top 5 EPA defensively. And then the number 1 team over that stretch has been the Vikings. So we're getting to that point too, where we have a decent amount of film on Browning. I think this could be a sneaky spot where even the Vikings went out right.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. What about moving to this Dallas Buffalo game. I know. I think I'm staying away from it.
Yeah, I would lean with Buffalo at home, but I almost feel like that's just the easy handicap where it's, oh, well, Cowboys aren't at home, take Buffalo. I want to wait to see if there's going to be any weather in this one because if there is some wind or even rain, or they get, I think it's called like the lake effect that can come out of nowhere and they get these crazy snowfalls. I don't want to be taking Dallas, but at the same time, Dak Prescott in that offense is looking really good. I got to wait to see weather and everything with that one.
Absolutely. Another one I'm looking at, again, I'm definitely not betting my team 2 weeks in a row, but I understand why there's money coming in on the Giants +6 going to New Orleans. I have been for everyone that watches, I've been very low on the Saints preseason, during the season. Like, I could not be more negative about this team. I do not think they are as good as the public feels. And we just saw this, like the Giants defense. I'm going to keep saying it. Derek Carr up against the Giants defense. I'm taking the Giants all day in that. My concern is that money's coming in because everyone is buying into this Devito stuff. So
yeah, that's a good point.
With this game?
Well, look, I mean, if we want to be real, the better quarterback as of late has been Devito.
Yeah.
I mean, Carr's look terrible. At this point, if I was the head coach of the Saints, I would put Winston as the starter. I mean, Carr, I don't even know what he's doing out there. It seems like his offense is like done with him too, body language wise. I don't know. I mean, even Kamara's not getting as many touches out of the backfield from like the passing game as I think he should. So I would probably lean under. That could be a sneaky under spot where
definitely
the Saints defense at home kind of steps up a little bit. I know it's only 37.5, but I like what I've seen out of the Giants defense. I think that makes a lot of sense. So the under is one I might end up firing up.
Yeah. Is there any other spreads you're looking at this week? I know there's been a lot of discourse about the Atlanta-Carolina game.
Yeah, what's going on with that line?
I don't know.
I mean, Carolina, like, do people want to bet Carolina +3? I don't know. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I know, but I also don't think I want to put money on Atlanta either.
Arthur Smith. He's kind of a weird dude.
He is a weird dude.
Apparently he comes from a lot of money. Someone was telling me, and they're like, he doesn't need to be a coach for the money, which is interesting because being a head coach, like, it's a grind. Like, you don't see your family. At least the players can kind of, I mean, a lot of the coaches like sleep in their offices. I don't know if he's married or anything, but
I think he has a little girl. I don't know. I could be making that up. I'm not totally positive. That total is only at 35. This could be one of those weird games that turns into like a shootout and the total flies over that. If that drops a little bit more, I probably would be tempted to take the over there.
Yeah, because I think people look at that and they see Bryce Young and they're like, well, what has he done? I mean, you got to think at some point from here on out, he will have one game where he passes for over like 200 yards and has a better completion percentage than like 35%. Like, his numbers are like, it's like 7 for 25 at one point in the game. I'm like, what the heck? Like, what are you doing out there?
Yeah, and he's leaving so many guys there just like wide open, and you want to shake him during it. And I hate to be the one to say it, but I think his height is actually playing a factor into it. Like, a lot of times he's straight up, I don't think he can even read the field.
Yeah, over the middle of the field, he's been missing guys. Like, Thielen's been open plenty of times, and
Mingo wide open, like crazy.
I don't know what the hell's going on there. I mean, what a miss taking him over Stroud.
It's rough. Other game that I want to bring up before I start wrapping up here, New York Jets going to Miami. Miami just off that very disappointing loss. But again, said on your show, I'm never going to count Vrabel out is the thing. No. Like, I'm either going to bet with him or I'm not betting the game, because I think that no matter what, if Vrabel is coaching, same thing as Tomlin, it's very hard. I know I said earlier that I like the Colts, but Trubisky kind of plays a piece in that. It's really hard to bet against those guys. Miami, 8.5-point favorites at home.
Oh yeah, this is a tough one. I know I started with like, well, it's sometimes you don't want to just be taking these teams that are ready for a bounce back, but
yeah,
I mean, the offensive firepower that the Miami Dolphins have, it is scary because they can just run up points so quickly. I'm kind of tempted to play an over a little bit, but you know what's crazy about Sunday is I'm just looking down all the games. It's like we have totals of 37, 37 and a half, 37, 37, 37, 35. I mean, we do have the Bills Cowboys that gets the 51, but like I can't remember the last time we've seen totals that low, but I guess it makes sense because I think 12 backups are starting on this week. So it's one of those weeks. Back to this game though, I would probably lean Miami, but I don't know. Like, can Zach Wilson actually have another good game back to back? I'm not sure.
Zach Wilson likes to have spike weeks, and that's about it. All right, you're fantastic. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll get my next guest on here. Let everyone know where they can find you before I switch off here.
Yeah, you can find me in the chat. I'm gonna say hello again. Follow me on YouTube, my Twitter, Ben_Cary_. And you can reach out to me any questions. We have a Twitch show too that we do on Sunday, and I'm kind of excited to see what Parker has to say too about some of these college games, because it always scares me with these bowl games and the motivation with some of these players. Like, do they want to even win? Do they even care? Right. But we'll have to see what he says.
Yeah. Had to bring him on. He is one of the best when it comes to college football. Yes. So I'll let you go. I will get you on very soon. Appreciate you coming on.
See ya. Go.
Yeah. All right. And now Parker Fleming, someone that, listen, you came on in person the first time. Now we're switching it up here, and we got you virtually here. How's it going, Parker?
Yeah, doing great, man. That feels like forever ago. That was like the weekend before the season started, and golly, that feels so long ago. Yeah,
so long ago. You've been since labeled, what was it, by Big Cat as the cool graph guy? What was the title for the Barstool?
I believe it was, this guy puts out a great graph on Twitter every week, and then I immediately was tweeting at him and DM. I was like, dude, say my name, like tell me where they can find it. But he's been great. He shares and stuff too. So yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you do put out awesome graphs. If you guys don't follow him at Stats of War on Twitter, awesome stuff. That's why I had to get you on for the bowl games. Is this one of your favorite college football weeks, or how do you feel about the bowl games in general?
I mean, bowl games are like increasingly becoming just absolute nonsense. It's like kind of when you can, it's a way to rebel against like the NFL-ification of the of college football, where you're just like, dude, I'm going to watch Georgia State and Utah State. And like, these two teams are objectively bad, and like not any of these guys are going to go play at the next level, but like they've been working hard for 4 years trying to get to this point, and this is a big deal for them, and it's a lot of fun. So I like it a lot. I also love like an excuse to open a beer on a Tuesday afternoon. So bowl season gives you that as well. So
absolutely,
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, golf season ends. I need a new excuse. So I find these excuses with football. At some point, I'm going to do smash or pass with you, looking at some of these lines and totals. First one is going to be smash or pass, Texas -4 versus the Washington Huskies.
Smash or pass.
I love that graphic. That was great.
Producer Ryan.
I am so interested in this one because I said that I was going to bet against Texas if they got into the playoff. I had money on them to go into the playoff this season because they're so bad in the red zone. They're 108th in the nation at finishing quality possession. So when they get a first down across the 40, they're 108th at finishing those drives. But Washington's defense is 100th in allowing finishing drives. They've been really, really bad at letting those up. So I really like Texas in this spot. I think that they're a more complete team. I think they're finally healthy and they're getting hot at the right time. So I'm gonna go with Texas on that one.
Okay, and looking at both of these quarterbacks and talking about the draft here, Penix, where are you at with him, I guess, when we start approaching the NFL draft?
He's good. It's so hard with college football because there's so much fandom wiped up, and people are like, "Oh, you said he's not good." I don't think he deserved the Heisman this year. Like, obviously, he had some games where he was hurt. He's persevering. I think that when we think about quarterback evaluation for the NFL, we have to do two things. One, we have to separate out college good and NFL good. There are guys who are great in college who are not going to be NFL quarterbacks, and that's okay. That doesn't mean they're bad. That doesn't mean that their college career is not something you should enjoy. With Penix, the second thing we have to do is what we should do with Penix. Think about them in terms of raw tools and potential. Can Penix, in the right situation with the right receivers, create an NFL offense? I think so, in a really good situation, which kind of changes the distribution of his potential outcomes. A little worried about his decision-making just because it hasn't been tested. When you have so many dudes, you have those reads, you're like, dude, just get it to the guy and it's going to go there. And there is something to be said for getting the ball to the right spot. But I am a little worried about decision-making. I think if you're a team that has a middle-of-the-road starter or you're still uncertain at quarterback, I don't know why you wouldn't, if you get in a position where you can get him later, why you wouldn't go for Penix there?
Yeah, he's a name that's been floated around for the Giants. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out for him. We'll get into the next smash or pass. Obviously, you're on my show. I went to University of Arizona, so we have to include a University of Arizona one here. So smash or pass, Arizona -3 versus Oklahoma. Alamo Bowl. This is Arizona's first bowl game in 6 years. So smash or pass, Arizona -3.
Oh, you're going to hate me for this. I think
it's okay because I think I'm with you. Yeah.
I like Arizona. I'm in love with their building. I'm long on them. Absolutely. I think that I am mad at Arizona and that this was not USC. And that's not Arizona's fault. It's USC's fault. But I wanted Oklahoma USC, the Lincoln Riley Bowl, and the Alamo Bowl this year. We didn't get it, dang it. But I like what Arizona's doing. I think they're very complete. The one issue is that their defense is just kind of a level below. So they're 13th on offense, 24th on defense for me. Oklahoma is 12th on offense, 9th on defense. Obviously, with Dylan Gabriel out, you might think, oh, that they have a good opportunity. I think Jackson Arnold's going to let it rip. I think he's a great quarterback, and they want to get some positive momentum going. We saw what a dilapidated Oklahoma did last year in a bowl game against Florida State. I think Venables is good at preparation. I think he'll be able to frustrate Arizona's offensive efforts. And so I got to stay away from that one. Got to pass on Arizona.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm fine with the success that Arizona had. It's been a long time since I've seen Arizona football play well. My first year at Arizona, I went to college with Foles. It was his last year there. Outside of that, we had Ben Cary, and then things got dark for a while. It was not, there hasn't been much exciting coming out of Arizona. Very cool to be ranked in football and basketball. So I'll take it. I don't give a shit if they lose this game. I'm cool with it. I'm happy with the success that we've had. And I think, Arizona moving forward, they're in a good spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Built well for the future. And I will say my one big Arizona what if they'd actually hired Ken Niumatalolo with Khalil Tate and just run the most annoying triple option in the history of college football. Could have been good, but I like where they're at now for sure.
It could have been great. All right, next one here, smash or pass. I believe this is the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. It's Kansas UNLV. Under 64.5.
What is the most emphatic pass that I can give? I want the over in this game so badly. This is offense 14 and 64. UNLV is so fun with Brendan Marion there. Ricky White, the Michigan State transfer to UNLV, leads the nation in target share. 37% of UNLV's targets go to Ricky White. He's so hard to cover. And Kansas going to be without their offensive coordinator, Andy Kotelnicki, who goes to Penn State. But I still think this is Leipold's offense. I still think they've got a lot of interesting weapons on offense, and it's Jason Bean's send-out party. So I think there's going to be a lot of points here. Both defenses are in the 70s as well in terms of EPA per play. So I really think this is going to be one of the more fun and pointsy bowl games. Two innovative, creative offenses and two just okay defenses. So I think we'll get a lot of points here for sure.
Yeah, I think this will be a fun game. I know, and I think, what is Kansas? They're 12.5-point favorites right now. I think they open 10.5. Do you think Kansas wins outright?
Yes, I've got them by about, what is this? Golly, 12, I think is my number here. And so kind of close to the line, not a huge edge there, but I do think that Kansas wins this one outright pretty comfortably. But a lot of points, never know. Could be entertaining. I'm rooting for just over and a good game that's close at the end. Yeah.
Okay. Next one that we're going to do, not exactly a game that I heard people talking too much about this one, talking about the Las Vegas Bowl. Utah, smash or pass, Utah -6.5 up against Northwestern.
This is the opposite of the last game in terms of fun for me.
Fourth string QB. It might get a little weird here.
The key for me here is Utah's defense is just so good. They're third in EPA per play. If they had an offense that could have broken the top half of the FBS, I think they would have been much better this season. 82nd in EPA per play. Shout out to Northwestern and David Braun. Made something out of absolutely nothing. That's something to be said here. But I think Utah's more complete. I don't want to go against Kyle Whittingham, so I'm gonna go with Utah here.
All right, cool. We'll move on to this one here. Has a guy that is getting a lot of steam here as we approach the NFL draft. Smash or pass, LSU -9 versus Wisconsin.
I'm so confident in this one. I would say LSU minus whatever. I think that LSU is going to be able to score at will against Wisconsin here. Their offense is number 1 in the nation in opponent adjusted efficiency. They're first at quality possession rate. They're third in finishing drives. They're first in early downs EPA. They're just going to be able to score in a way that Wisconsin can't. Especially because Wisconsin's some uncertainty about who's going to play. They're 51st in EPA per play. And the biggest deal is that LSU's pass defense has been terrible. They're 99th in EPA per pass on defense. Wisconsin, only 74th. So it's not like they're going to be able to exploit it. I think we're looking at boat race here. Multiple scores in the second half lead for LSU. So I'm going to go with the Tigers minus the 9 for sure.
Love it. Jaden Daniels, another guy, like I said, a lot of talk about him. Where do you think he realistically goes? I know it's hard to say that we're so many months out still, but what would be right now in your mind an appropriate place to draft Jaden Daniels?
I mean, it's going to be somebody like it's going to be somebody who's like, damn, that's cool, right? It's going to be like Raiders or somebody who maybe doesn't necessarily need him, but I think someone will take him in the first round, especially in seeing guys like Hurts, seeing guys like Kyler Murray, seeing guys like Pat Mahomes, that can improvise. It's not just the rushing ability. Like obviously the rushing ability is huge, and you've got a Lamar Jackson who can run a pass. You absolutely want that, but the improvisation, I think he's a little rough under pressure. Like 30% pressure to sack ratio last year, and in the mid 20s this year. But I do think that a team like Las Vegas could be absolutely like, hey, let's just get somebody who's going to get exciting and give us some options to kind of free up this offense and do something we haven't done before. So I think he'll get a first round swing for sure.
Yeah, I think so as well. I'll give you the last one here. The Arizona Bowl. This is taking place in my college town of Tucson. Smash or pass, Wyoming -3 versus Toledo.
I love Wyoming here. This is we're going to put the numbers away. I'm not even going to look at the sheet for a second. It's Craig Bohl's last game. He's retiring. Great career. They're sitting out. Toledo, their quarterback Daquan Finn is transferring. He's visiting Baylor. He's gone. Toledo gave us like the Jason Candle game once every year. They have one that they just absolutely should not lose, and they lose anyway. That was the MAC championship. Toledo kind of deflated here. Wyoming with everything to play for. I love Craig Bohl going out with a win against the spread. He's been positive money his whole career, especially at Wyoming. No reason for me to believe that's going to be different this year.
Yeah, and Wyoming has actually been one of the most profitable college football teams this year. There is a question in the chat for you before I start wrapping up and letting you get out of here so you can get back to your baby, who I heard made an appearance for a brief moment. But Capwize asked Parker the idea of players in the transfer portal being able to play for their new team in the bowl game.
Yeah, so the only reason I think this would be interesting is from a program building standpoint, if I could get a guy in and let him practice, because that's a big benefit for the bowls in college football. If I can get in there, I get 2 weeks, a month to practice extra there. I think this is kind of like the basketball issues that they've been having, where like you can enroll in January, and if you didn't play, then you can potentially get in there as well. Gets a little hairy. I think generally for the sake of the sport and for bowls being, kind of an end of season celebration, something that's fun in college football, I think I'd prefer this to not be on the table, because I think the benefits are marginal at best, and all they do is add even more nonsense to what is inarguably the craziest calendar in sporting history right now, with the transfer portal and the bowls and all this going on right now. I think that's just a little bit too much to sustainably bear for college football, and probably the negative aspects outweigh the gains for sure for me.
For sure. As we wrap up here, do you have a favorite underdog for these bowl games?
Favorite underdog? I have 3 favorites on my last couple.
Oh, I like it. I asked for 1, I got 3. This is why you're on the show.
Yeah, those are my So the favorites that I've got, like I'm on New Mexico State, I'm on Texas Tech, I'm on UCF. The underdog I like, USF, huge motivation gap. Syracuse completely turned over there. USF has been struggling last couple of years. They turned around this year with the new coach Alex Golish, and they get some positive MO with the bowl practices and having the bowl there. I think there's a huge motivation gap there. So USF, I think +3, you can get that in some places. Against Syracuse is an interesting one for me.
I like it. All right, I'm going to switch to quick little NFL question, because I'm seeing a lot of this on X today. I don't know if you noticed, you wake up and there's a theme of the day. Today's theme is Justin Fields, the discourse on him going to another team, them trading him away, them drafting Caleb Williams. Do you have a strong stance on what the Bears should do with Justin Fields?
they should trade him for whatever they can get because the value's still high, and they should take a swing on a quarterback. When you think about quarterbacks in the NFL, any information that they're not good immediately puts them behind someone where you don't have information you're not good, right? So like, I don't know that Caleb Williams or Drake May, whoever you prefer, you're doing scouting eval, all that. I don't know. I'm actually of the opinion that teams should draft quarterbacks more in general, just because you want those redundancies this year. That's bearing out very nicely with all the backup quarterbacks and everything. But I'm of the opinion that Justin Fields could absolutely be an everyday starter in the NFL for a decent team. I'm also of the opinion that the Bears, for their needs and what they have right now, should absolutely take another swing on a quarterback and try to recoup some value. You're telling me you don't want Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. in the top 4 picks? Like, I would rather roll with that. That's more fun to me.
Right. Speaking of backup quarterbacks, my New York Giants have quite the phenomenon going on here. Everyone wants to talk about chicken cutlets. I can't go on my timeline without getting hungry. Tommy DeVito, can you let the people know, unless you disagree with me, that he is a backup quarterback and that he will probably be that moving forward in his career? Or convince me otherwise.
The Sopranos memes are killing me, where it's like Tony laying in his bed. He's like, Carm, these would be perfect for Meadow. Yeah, I love those. It's great content. The way to think about this is Occam's razor, right? When you hear hoofbeats, you're not thinking zebras, you're thinking horses. When you see a backup quarterback come in and have a goofy game where they're really good, one, enjoy it. It's absolutely fun. Two, we're in the circle of trust here. Nobody punch me. The Giants are in this mess because they let a small sample size of quarterback performance dictate their long-term future. Do not make that mistake again. I think that's the key here, to keep in context there. Absolutely enjoy it. Get everything you can around him to help him succeed. Do not try to build your franchise around a backup quarterback who had a fun game. That is not a good long-term strategy. That being said, the memes and the content are great. Absolutely rooting for him. But you just got to remember that when you think about this one weird performance, do I want to put that with my entire history of what I know about Tommy DeVito, or do I want to throw all that away and believe in this just one game? And I think there's a pretty obvious answer there.
Yeah, I've been very repetitive about it. I think enjoy the ride. I think they're doing a beautiful branding moment here. I think that he should get as many endorsement deals as he can, ride it out. When they start getting tape on this kid, it's probably going to look very different. I think the Giants defense has carried them to a lot of the success that they've had these last couple of weeks. Before I let you get out of here, do you have a favorite week 15 game, a spread, whatever it is, total that you like going into this? I can't believe it's week 15.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy here. One, I'm in awe of the NFL. I don't know what to make sense of anything because I'm the world's most casual Titans fan, and Monday night has shaken me to my entire core.
It was awesome.
It was so fun, and so I don't feel like I'm dialed in just because like stuff like that has been happening all week. A game I like. I heard Ben talking about this. It was weirdly condensed spreads and totals this week, really or totals, which is kind of hard. Let's do one. Let's be fun here for a second. You got Kansas City going to New England. They're a 9-point favorite. Hey, maybe Kansas City's mad about last week. Didn't go as well. They want to get some reps in. They want to put some fireworks up. They want Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift to have a great birthday celebration. So they're going to put up a lot of points there. And New England wants that first pick. So let's go with Kansas City as my favorite to cover there. The biggest favorite of all favorites, but a nice bounce back for a team that's been up and down this year. Yeah, I love it. You're the best. I'll have to get you back on very soon. Let everyone know where they can find you and your work because it is fantastic. If you're not following Parker, you should be. Yeah, thanks for having me. No, anytime. Find me on Twitter at StatsOfWar and on YouTube, the BetUS College Football Show. We're doing twice a week during bowl season. Just search BetUS College Football. It'll get you to the right spot. You can check that out as well on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I love it. All right. See you, Parker. Take care. And then before we get out of here, let's see. Is producer Ryan actually going to jump on here from a casino? How's it going? Hey. I still have, I'm sorry, I'm in the casino right now. You are in the casino. I didn't know if you wanted me to come on or. It's okay. You can come on. You want to come on for my call to action? You can see how well I do with it here. All right. So if you enjoyed all the information that Parker gave us, Splash Sports is doing a CFB Bowl game pick contest. You can have up to 150 entries, $10 entry. The link is in the description. There's cash prizes for first to 50th, first to 31st, somewhere between there. All the information is in the description. We all like reasons to try to make more money. Go do that. Maybe win yourself some cash to place some more NFL bets. And we'll be back Friday with Quad D's, final picks,
Be sure to like, subscribe, rate if you're listening to the audio version, and we'll get out of here. Hopefully, producer Ryan comes back in one piece.
Yeah, I will be back in one piece. My flight out of here is just in an hour. I didn't lose all my money, so I'm
amazing. That's what we like to hear. We'll have to get some stories on Friday, but until then, we will see you guys then.
Watch him make it, break it, break it.